Welcome to the instructional video on how to create Google Docs. Google Docs is very similar to Microsoft Word. It is Google's version of a word processor. So we first need to make sure that we have access to our Google account. Using your Chrome browser, go to google.com where you're on the home screen. And then in the top right corner, if you haven't already signed in, there will be a blue sign in button. Make sure that you sign in using your APS Gmail account. Every teacher in APS has an account. That is your name at aps.edu, and use the same password that you use to get into your Gmail. Next to your icon, there's going to be something we call the waffle. When you click on that, you're going to have access to all of the G Suite apps that are available through APS for Google. There are 3 different ways that you can create a Google Doc. The first way is through the same waffle. You can click on the Docs icon, and then that is going to pop up this Docs page. From this Docs page, there is a template gallery. There are many different templates that you can choose from. You can also click on this plus sign right here and create a brand new blank document. Another way that you can create a Google Doc is by going to docs.google.com. and it's going to automatically take you right back. Another way that you can create a Google Doc is by going to docs.google.com, and that's going to take you back to that screen that we were just on with the template gallery and the ability to create a blank Google Doc. The other way to create a Google Doc is right from Drive. If you go to your Drive and click on New up here in the corner, you can create a brand new doc, either from that template gallery or as a blank document. There is one other trick for all different Google tools that if you don't want to go through the template gallery, you can actually just click on a brand new tab or window and then type in whatever app you're using, slides, sheets, in this case it's Docs. I'm going to type in docs.new in the URL bar, and that's automatically going to create a brand new Google Doc for me. When you first create a Google document, you're going to want to name the file in your Drive. That's in the top left corner. Enter, and that will rename the document. Here on the inside of the file itself, we have a toolbar that has a lot of similar structures as a Word document. You can type in text just inside the space. You can change the text formatting using the toolbar up above. I can bold, italicize, underline, or change the color of the text using all of these tools right here. This is bold, italicize, underline, and text color. You can also highlight the text. I can format the page by changing the decrease or increase indent buttons. Just like any other type of word processor, you can change the font and size of the text. I can do that up here on the toolbar with the name of the font and adjusting the font size. To adjust the font size, just click on the drop down and select the size you want, or you can enter it manually. And to change the font style, click on the word Arial, and you're going to have a drop down of a whole lot of different font styles. Now, unlike Microsoft Word, where you used to have to download different font styles, to get more fonts, click on More Fonts, and you're going to see a list of a whole bunch of different fonts. The fonts that you have already selected will be on the right. You can sort by the type of script, by the type of style, and also by popularity. Click on the type of font that you would like, and that will be put over here into your fonts. And when you are done, click OK. Now those fonts should be available right here on my drop-down menu. You can also change the font of a particular piece of text using the Google Docs Paint formatting roller. I'm going to highlight the text that I want to have copied, and then in the upper left, click on this icon. When I click on that, when I go over another set of text, it will match that text to the text that was above it. So we've talked about how to add different types of formatting to a Google Doc. Let's talk about how you can take that formatting and match the rest of the document. If I go over to this article about turtles and I copy this text and I go back to my file and I paste that text, you're going to notice that the font and the size and type of text don't match. So I can highlight the text and go up here to this toolbar and choose Clear Formatting, and it will match the text that I copied it next to. Another way to do this is to do Control-C, and when you want to copy into your text, use either Command-Shift-V or Control-Shift-V to match the formatting automatically. So Google Docs has an extra component called Text Style. Text Style is up here on the toolbar, and this is used to help create a linked document outline or to reformat different sections of the text. In text styles, you can choose between different headings and subheadings that you can use on your text. I'm going to go ahead and format all of these to be the different types of text styles. Now you're going to notice that the font and style of the text has changed for each one of those headings. If I go over here to the left, I can see the document outline that has been created. In title, it shows up on the left, and as I get different headings and subheadings, it's going to indent those outlines. Google Docs will default to normal text, and that will not be on the document outline. I can also use text styles to format text and change it throughout the entire document. So if I have this text here as heading 2, and I want all of my heading 2s to look the same, I'm going to reformat this one. So I'm going to make it blue. I'm going to make it bold, and I'm going to change the font. If I click on text style again, and I hover over heading 2, I can update all heading 2s in my document to match this format. Google Docs will also pull information from those different text styles to help create a digital table of contents for this document. To get a linked table of contents, go to the Insert menu up on the top bar, go all the way down to the bottom, and click on Table of Contents. Now there are 2 different versions of a table of contents. You can have one with page numbers or with linked text. I'm going to click the linked text one to start out with, and it's going to embed that table of contents right into the document itself. And when I click on those different sections, it's going to take me to those sections of the document. When you update the content in your document, if you hover over the table of contents and click on the update button, it will automatically update those sections. The other version of the table of contents is with page numbers. It will create page numbers for all of the different sections that you have created for your Google Doc. If you do not like the table of contents, click on that update image, right click on it, and then you'll be able to delete that table of contents. You can position most of the text in Google Docs using the toolbar as well. I'm going to highlight this paragraph, and this section here all the way over to the right is about how to format the text positioning. I can align a paragraph to the left, I can center it, I can right align, or make justify text. This icon here is for line spacing. So I can change the spacing of the different paragraphs. In this numbered list, I can add a list. There is a lot of different formats for an outline. I can also create a bulleted list, which has a lot of different options, including checkboxes. I can change how my document is indented by increasing the indent or decreasing an indent. We've gone over most of the options on the Google Docs toolbar. We're going to get back to these 3 icons as well as this one later. The very last section is this section to the left. You can undo your last action. You can redo that action. You can print from this area, and Google Docs also has a spelling and grammar check. Now that we've gone over most of the options in the toolbars, let's go up here to the menu bar and look at some of these options. One of the ones that I like to look at first is the View menu. I like this View menu because there are different types of Google Docs toolbars that can be enabled through this menu. The first one is to show a ruler. That can toggle this ruler off and on to position text. I can turn off or on that document outline that we were looking at before. And if you are a math teacher, you can show an equation toolbar. The equation toolbar has a lot of different drop-down options here for the equation. If I click on a part of my document, and then I click on New Equation on that toolbar, it's going to open a box, and I can toggle between all of these different mathematical symbols in order to create a math problem. The next menu we're going to look at is the Insert menu. The Insert menu allows you to insert a variety of different objects into your Google Doc. The first one we're going to look at is inserting an image. You can insert an image through this drop-down menu, or you can use the toolbar Insert Image this way as well. Both ways allow you to insert an image by uploading from the computer, searching right from the web, from Google Drive, Google Photos, by URL, or from the device's camera. If you are searching from the web, it's going to open up a brand new window here on the right where you can look up a topic. It will pull all the different copyright and fair use images that are available to be used from Google Images. You can select the image that you would like to insert, click Insert, and it will be inserted right into the Google Doc. You can edit this image by clicking on it once, and you will see handlebars on all of the different edges that you can grab and resize the image. You can also wrap the text, break the text, set margins around the image, move with the text, fix position on the page, or have some position options. If you would like to fix the position on the page, click it, and then you're able to move the image where you would like it. When you are on the image, you will also notice that in the top toolbar, there is now an Images option. When you click on that, you are able to change the size and rotation of the image, wrap the text, change position, recolor the image, and make any other small adjustments that you would like to make with the image on the Google Doc. Going back to the Insert menu, the second option is inserting a table. Hover over Table and select how many rows and columns you would like to insert into the doc. Once I'm inside this table, I can format this table by going up to the Format menu, and I can hover over Table. I'm able to insert rows and columns, delete rows and columns, and distribute rows and columns. Distributing rows and columns is evening out the size and rows of the column to where they're the same size for each one. If you've selected more than one cell, you can merge all of the cells together. And when I click on Table Properties, I'm able to change the border color, the cell background. I can change column width and row height, as well as the alignment on the page. I can also access some table formatting tools up here on the toolbar that will be present when you're inside the Google Doc in the table. You can change the background color, line width, as well as line design. And back to the Insert menu, we are still able to insert some drawings from either Google Drive or adding straight from Google Drawings, a chart, horizontal lines. You can add a footnote. The special characters and equations are tied in similarly to the equation toolbar. And I'm going to go here to headers and footers. Google Docs does have the ability to add a header and footer on each page, as well as to format page numbers. So I can either choose header and footer, and when I do that, I'm able to click here on this Options drop-down menu, and that allows me to add page numbers in the footer themselves, or to footer format, or remove the footer. I can link or unlink the footer to previous. These have very similar tools as the header of each page as well. If you do not want to add page numbers using headers or footers, you can go back to Insert, hover over the Page Numbers option, and then choose which way you would like to have the page numbers inserted into the document. If I click on More Options, I can start numbering at a specific number. I can continue or discontinue from the previous section, and I can position the page numbers in either the header or the footer. You can also insert a link to a website or to a different file or document right inside a Google Doc. You can do this either from the Insert menu, Insert Link, or from the toolbar. When you click on Insert Link, if you have highlighted the text, it will pull that highlighted text, or you can write a new text, and then you can go to a website, copy the URL of that site, and go back to your Google Doc and link that right into the Google Doc. There will be an interactive hyperlink that is attached to that place in Google Docs. This is a great way to build something called hyperdocs, where you can have a lot of different links to different parts or aspects of web pages, or a way that you can create activities for students that have all the different parts of a unit or an activity all housed in one location. The last part of the Insert menu we're going to look at is adding a comment. Comments are great ways to add notes or suggestions or questions. You can have other collaborators inside the document leave comments, or you can make comments for yourself. There are 3 different ways that I can add a comment to a Google Doc. Right here through this menu, the comment logo on the toolbar, and there's one other way. If I highlight a specific area of the text that I want to leave a comment on, there will be an icon that pops up on the right. If I hover over that and click on it, I'm able to add a comment. It will say who the comment is from. I'm able to leave a comment. If I do Shift at, it will pull up all of the different people I'm able to leave comment to and assign this task to the specific person, or I can just make sure that this comment is for the specific person. If I have commented to a specific person in the Google Doc, they will also be notified by email. I'm going to click comment. It's going to say which person I've shared this comment with. I can allow them to comment or edit, and then I can click on comment. When the person I've left a comment to comes into the same Google Doc, they can leave a reply or they can mark the comment as resolved. When the comment has been resolved, I'm able to look at previous comments by going up to the icon next to the share button to open comment history, and I can see all the comments that have previously been added to this Google Doc. If you would prefer to have your suggestions on the screen instead of in the comment format, there are 3 different modes of viewability in Google Docs. If I go back to that view menu, I can go to Mode and select Editing, Suggesting, or Viewing, or in the very right of the toolbar, the last of the icons we're going to cover, is the Editing, Suggesting, or Viewing mode. Editing is where I'm able to edit this document directly. Google Docs defaults to editing mode. If you would like to share this document with other people and you do not want to make any of those changes permanently, you can change that to be suggesting mode. When you are in suggesting mode, I'm able to use this when I want to proofread for others or if I want to offer a suggestion about how to change something. So when I highlight or change part of the text, you're going to notice that the changes are going to be tracked and that there will be another icon on the side which is very similar to what the comments look like. If I delete a certain section or if I add something, the changes will stay as suggestions. If you want to keep the suggestions that have been offered, you can click on the plus icon to accept the suggestions, or you can select the X to reject any suggestions. All suggestions and comments are going to be kept up here in that same location next to the share button. To exit the suggesting mode, click on that drop-down icon and go back to editing mode. Because Google Tools are all cloud-based platforms, they allow you to share all of the different files with others, so that way they can become editors on the same document or will allow you to collaborate with other people in real time. To do this, go up to the top right corner of the file and click on the Share button. You're able to type in the name or email address of the person you're trying to share the file with. Since we are part of the APS domain, when you type in an address that is at APS, it should automatically populate. And there are 3 options for how the person can interact with the file. They can edit the file directly. You can set the permissions where they can comment only using the commenting tool, or where the person can view the file only and make no changes. I'm going to allow editing. You can add a note to the file that will be sent as a notification and an email to the person who is getting the shared file. I'm going to click on Advanced. In the advanced settings, you will be able to see all of the different people who have access to this file, and you can also change the different types of permissions for each individual person. If you hover over the permissions icon, you can set an expiration date for how long the person has access to that file. You can also remove the person from having access to that file. Along with allowing people to edit or change the file, you can prevent editors from changing access and adding new people, and you can also disable the option to download, print, or copy for any commenters and viewers when you do send this file to others. I'm going to save the changes, and I'm going to send the information to the person that I've invited to edit this file. Click Done. And now when I go over to that account and I go to the Shared With Me drive in drive.google.com, that file is going to be evident right here, and the person that I've shared this file with is able to make changes in the document. Since I've shared this with ELS Student 1, I can see their icon up on the top of the file itself. If I click on the icon itself, it's going to take me to wherever they are in the paper, and there's going to be a little flag for each person who is inside the document editing at the time. If I hover over the flag, it's going to show me who that particular person is. Now I have added 2 more students to this document. I can see all of the different students here, ELS Student 1, 2, and 3. Here on the top bar of the document, I can also see the flags of where each student is right here in the document itself. If one of the students began to type here in the document, I will be able to see them type, and it will put up the flag of who is typing. With sharing the document, you can have up to 100 participants in a document at one time. There is another way to share a link to a document with other people. You can either share it to them directly or you can get a shareable link. If I click on share again, up in the top right corner, I'm able to get a shareable link. This is going to determine the sharing permissions for the entire document. There are some different options. If I click on this drop-down menu, it's going to default to anyone in Albuquerque Public Schools. This means that anyone who has an @aps.edu account, anyone at APS can view, anyone at APS can comment, anyone at APS can edit, or I can turn these sharing permissions off. If I click on the More menu, I can make this file accessible to people outside of the APS domain. I can make it where anyone with the link can view, comment, or edit, or anyone with the link can make this public on the web. I'm going to change this where anyone with the link can view the document. I'm going to select Save. And now that's going to give me a link right here that I can copy. And then I'm going to select Done. I'm going to open a new incognito window, and we're going to open that document. I'm able to go inside the doc itself, but I cannot make any changes to it. I am able to see anyone else who is inside this document, and I'm able to request an edit access if I would like to be able to edit this document. Anyone who is looking at the document as view only will have an anonymous character pop up in the top instead of their Google account. Even though you do make your document view only, if you didn't change the permissions to prevent someone from making a copy, here I am in a different account, I can go to File and make a copy of that document, and I can save a copy of this document in my own drive. If you want to create a file and link to it where everyone has to create their own copy of it in their drives and you don't want to have to worry about keeping your own document, then what you can do is you change the shareable link to force a copy. To do that, we're going to go to the share button and we're going to change this link to anyone with the link can edit. And we're going to select Save. And we're going to copy that link. You need to make changes to this link before you share it to others, or else you won't be able to force a copy. Everyone will be able to edit your file. So in the URL, copy that link and change where the word says edit in the URL to the word copy. Now copy this link, and when someone tries to open it, instead of being view only, it's going to say instead of being view only, they will ask if they would like to make a copy of this document right into their Google Drive. Google Docs saves automatically, even with the changes from everyone who is collaborating in the document. If you would like to see previous versions of Google Docs, you're able to do that by going to File and then clicking on Version History. I'm going to go to See Version History. And I'm able to see here on the right all of the different changes that had been made at different points of time on this document. When other people are collaborating inside the document, you can see those people on the document listed. If I click on this Expand Detailed Version arrow, it's going to show all of the different versions in that time period in more detail. If I click here, I'm going to be able to see all of the changes that ELS Student 2 made. And now I can see the changes from ELS Student 3. If I want to keep a previous version of the Google Doc, I can click on 3 dots and I can name a version or I can make a copy of a different version of the document. This allows you to save different versions of the document or to go back in time in case there was a mistake that was made. I'm going to select the back button to get back to the editable version of the Google Doc. We're going to go up here to the File menu. In the File menu, I'm able to share, create a new document, spreadsheet, presentation, form, or drawing. I can make a copy of this file and have another version of it kept in my drive. I can download this Google Doc as any of these different formats. I can also email this as an attachment right from Google Docs. I can make this available offline, and we just talked about version history. I can rename the file, move it in my drive, or move it to the trash can. If I choose to publish this file to the web, I'm going to create a link that can be added to a Google site, as well as creating a Google embed code. If you create a Google site, you can link and embed Google Docs automatically. I can email all the collaborators on this document. I can change the primary language on the document. This does not translate the document. This actually just makes the primary language. And you can change the page setup. In the page setup options, you're able to apply the setup to particular sections of the document depending on page breaks. You can change from portrait to landscape, change paper size, as well as the page background color, and you can change all of the margins. I believe one of the more powerful menu bars is the Tools option. If I click on the Tools menu, I'm able to have a spelling and grammar check in the paper. I can also go down and select word count. I can do pages, words, characters, or sections. I can also display the word count while I'm typing, and it will be displayed in the bottom left corner of the Google Doc. I can review any suggested edits that have been made by collaborators. I can also compare documents. If I select Compare Documents, I can select another document and then select Compare. Once the comparison is ready, I can select Open. Now I can see all of the differences between the two documents and also tell all of the different similarities between the two of them. Another option in the toolbar is getting to the Explore tool this way, double checking any linked objects, but I can also click on Dictionary and I'm able to look up words straight in Google Docs. It's going to pull up a menu here on the right again. Search for a word. It's going to give me the definition here on the side. The next two areas I think are two of the very most powerful tools that Google has. In Google Docs, I can translate an entire document. If I click on Translate, it's going to give me the option to create a new file document name, and I get to choose from a huge variety of languages that I can translate this document into. Once I found the language, I can select it, and then I can select Translate here. A brand new document is going to be translated in that language, and it will be saved in my drive. That is great for parents or for students who are bilingual and would prefer to have a page in one or maybe both languages. This is not an absolute perfect translation. This is a digital version of a translation, so sometimes things don't necessarily move over exactly as context. The other option in Tools is the voice typing feature. If I click on voice typing, it's going to open this microphone over here on the left. I'm going to click on it to enable the speaking. And when I'm talking out loud, the speakers will pick up the sound and it will automatically type out that information for me on my Google Doc, period. You will need to speak out the different punctuation pieces, comma, but it does a pretty good job of annotating and writing out all of the words that are spoken, period. I'm going to click on the microphone again to turn it off. There are a few preferences that are available as far as how to set up action items or capital words. And one of the other options is accessibility settings, where you can turn on a screen reader support as well as a screen magnifier support. These will need some downloads of some excess software to do that though. A great tool that's available in Google Docs is something called the Explore tool. This is found in the bottom right of the screen, and if you hover over it, you'll see that it says Explore, and when you click on it, a menu will open up on the right. This allows you or students to search straight from the web in Google Docs for either images, information, or you can pull things directly from your drive. I'm going to go up here and search, and then it's going to pull up 3 separate tabs: Web, Images, or Drive. I'm going to select Images, and I'm going to find a picture that I like and click on this Insert Image sign. This is very similar to inserting an image previously. However, since this is pulling from the web, it's actually going to cite this image right inside the image itself. If I hover over the image, it's going to create a link back to the very first page that this is coming from, allowing students or you to cite the images. There is something similar with information found on the Web tab. If I go to the Web tab, I can find information about the subject right in Google Docs on the right. So I'm going to scroll down to look for an article that I would like to read. I'm going to click on one of them, and it's going to open that article in a brand new tab. Once I have the information I want or information I would like to add to my paper, I can copy that information. And now I'm going to want to be able to cite that website that I got the information from. So over here, if I hover over that article in the Explore tab, there's going to be a cite as footnote image that pulls up. It looks like 2 quotation marks. If I click on this, it's going to create a footnote citation right here in my document. And on the bottom, it's going to have a footnote here already cited. Google Docs will automatically resort to using the MLA style of citation. You can switch to APA or Chicago using these 3 dots next to the web results. You can also go to the Drive tab in Explore and pull up information here that you can open directly right here from Google Drive inside Google Docs. Google Docs can be used to open other types of files as well. You can open up a Word document right into Google Docs, click on it, and then select Open with Google Docs. I'm able to edit it and make changes to it just like I would on a Google Doc file. You're going to notice that it is a Microsoft Word format still. This type of format can still be edited in Google Docs. However, you will miss some of the options. You're going to notice, especially in tools, that there's not as many. So what you can do to enable this is to go to File and save it as a Google Doc. Then it will save a brand new file. Now it is saved as a Google Docs option. Another way for all of the files to convert automatically is if you go to your drive and you go to the gear icon and go to Settings. If you click on Convert Upload Files to Google Docs Editor Format, that means that it's going to automatically convert all items into Google items. So that means Excel will be Sheets, Word will be Docs, etc. This is also true for PDFs and other types of word processor files. You can usually open these with Google Docs. The other interesting thing that you can do with Google Docs is open a picture. So if I take an image, in this case, here's an image that has writing on it or information. If I right-click on that picture and I go to Open with Google Docs, so that's right-click and Open with Google Docs can pull that text out for you into the document itself. Now that the image is done uploading, I can scroll down and see that Google's artificial intelligence has tried to pull out that writing and added it here on the bottom of the paper. I'm going to share some examples of how Google Docs can be used by students or by other teachers for professional development. This is a Googly game board that was created for professional development to learn about Google tools. This is set up as a game board where participants can click on the different hyperlinks in each of the boxes and work their way around the board to learn more about all of the different concepts. This is similar, but this is for students, where students can utilize the hyperlinks to have access to an article, and then they can collaboratively work on article notes together and then make a copy of the final notes in their own drive. Each group gets a different section of the article. Since Google Docs can be shared easily across different Google accounts, they can be set up in a grid pattern where teachers or students can choose the tasks and activities they would like to participate in using a bingo or tic-tac-toe type style. This is an example of a PD bingo that can be offered for teachers for professional development. And this is an example of a tic-tac-toe choice menu made on a Google Doc. Students need to complete the middle box, and then they can choose any of the activities surrounding the middle box. Google Docs can also be used to collect research information. This is an outline for completing a research paper. Students have different writing prompts where they can put in their information, but what is good about Google Docs is that you can create hyperlinks on the top that can lead to answers about different styles of research or about different questions about the project itself. Utilizing Google Docs' ability to link to different areas, you can create an escape room or breakout style activity using a Google Doc. When you click on all of the different links throughout this Google Doc, it's going to take you to other docs where you can collect clues and find information in order to solve a mystery. Google Docs can also be set up as something called a hyperdoc. A hyperdoc is a way for an activity or lesson to be built all comprehensively in one document. Students will have links to videos, images, articles, and information on one side of the page, as well as templates and outlines to complete the tasks on the right. Google Docs is a great way to build templates that can be used to share to all students in Google Classroom. This is a writing journal template for students to complete throughout the week. Since Google Docs can be collaborated on collectively, you can create charts and tables and share them with multiple students or teachers so they can be filled out by everyone all at the same time. Use this for question and answer sections or use it for student and teacher signups. Google Docs is also a great way to keep notes and information on topics since they are kept in a cloud and they're easier to access. And the Explore tool can be used to add extra information or content to the notes. Thank you for joining me today for this Google Docs tutorial.